So Oda made some comments about One Piece going into 2026, and he more or less said that he's going to be speed running it. Like, we're moving at a pace that it hasn't moved at before, meaning that maybe Elbaf will end, maybe we're going to get closer to the One Piece than we ever have. But let me break down the exact comment that he made. He said, after what you could call a very long flashback, or at least a little glimpse into history that I'm sure has given you a different perspective on Elbaf, we ended things with a bang. And now things are about to get crazy. We will get to the island that only King of the Pirates had previously reached? ? The man with the bird scar will appear. Characters who we'd never met before will finally meet. Another pair of characters will come face to face. I think next year will be a year of encounters. The story will be moving at a breakneck speed, and since I've aged, much to my jargon, I'll take the liberty of maintaining my own health as we continue sailing next year at the fastest One Piece speed. So, what do you make of that? Sure, you talked about this before, but I'd love to hear your thoughts on it.
Yeah, when it comes to Oda's Jump Festa message, it essentially just tells us we're going full speed ahead. We're just picking up the pace, and I don't think that's super shocking to anybody. I mean, look at God Valley, right? We all like God Valley, but I think we can all agree that we could have gotten more. We could have gotten more fleshed out fights, more interactions, etc., etc. But Oda decided to, kind of fast forward through it, and I think the same will be said here in Elbaf even, and moving on to future arcs. Yeah, it'll still be great, but I think there will be little instances where Oda's gonna, kind of skip over things or just speed it up, maybe not focus too much on the fights, just to get to the end of One Piece before, he gets too old. I just keep on going back to when Oda said, yeah, guys, One Piece, it's ending in 3-4 years, and then here we are all these years later, and it's to a point where Oda's like, yeah, I should have been done by now, but, it is what it is. So, as far as that goes, that's nice and dandy, but that does mean that we will be meeting that man marked by flame pretty soon. We're going to be hitting Lodestar, we're going to be hitting Laugh Tale just right after Elbaf, and I'm excited for it, man.
Yeah, so do you think that's the island that he means? He says, we will get to the island that only the King of Pirates had previously reached. I mean, normally I think our brain just gravitates towards Laugh Tale where the One Piece is, but that's, nonsense. We're not getting there this year. But Lodestar is an island. It's apparently the last island in the Grand Line. I don't know if it said that only Roger had been there, but that's the only person we know of that had been there. We don't really know anything about it except its name and that it's the last place in the Grand Line. So you think that's what he's talking about here?
Yeah, I think he's talking about Lodestar. There was a line where it said Lodestar was an island only the Pirate King has ever reached, which is kind of crazy. It's not like anything's necessarily guarding it. You just follow the log pose and it'll eventually take you there. But I guess nobody really cared to follow it as much as Roger did. I bet there's people who visited Lodestar nowadays, but back during Roger's era, he was the first guy. And the way they described it, it is pretty one-to-one with how the Jump Festa message goes. So I think we will be hitting Lodestar. It makes sense. I've seen people saying that we don't have to go there because we know about the road poneglyphs. Because that island is where Roger found out that there's another island. He went there and he's like, wait a minute, this isn't the end. There's something else out there. Then he found Laugh Tale. So people are like, oh, because the Straw Hats know about Laugh Tale already, we don't have to go. But the thing is that Roger found something there, though. There is something there that tells you that there's another island. I like to imagine it might be like Jaya, where we got to Jaya, and it was like, oh yeah, look at this weird island. It's this really strange shape. Look at Mont Blanc Cricket's house. It's half a house. What's going on here? And then we find out that Skypiea is the missing half, and that's how, we could have pieced it together a lot sooner. I think Lodestar might be the same way, where we get there, and it's like, oh, this is a cool island, but it's missing something. And then that's probably how Roger found out that Laugh Tale existed. So I think there is going to be some, Void Century history there, something important. Could even be the Ancient Kingdom. We know that Joy Boy's treasure is the One Piece. Maybe Lodestar is the remains of the Ancient Kingdom.
Yeah, I do think that there has to be some kind of Void Century tie into it, especially at this point in the story, for it to have some kind of significance other than it just being some random place. And I always wondered if they are going to go there, because I guess they are. I mean, it was mentioned that it's the last place in the Grand Line in the New World. So I'm sure the Straw Hats will have some kind of incentive to go there. And then it also says that we will meet the burn scar, the man with the burn scar, the man marked by flames. I don't know if he literally means it will be happening this year, because that's another thing. I don't know everything that he's saying here is like factual. Like if it like literally means it will be 2026 that this is happening.
I hope so.
Because man, so many things will have to happen here. We'll have to meet the man marked by flames, which we could in Elbaf. And then Elbaf has to be over, and then they go to Lodestar, which could all happen in like a couple chapters. Not everything ending, but just them going to Lodestar in the first place. But I don't know, maybe the man with the burn scar, the man marked by flames, coincides with Lodestar for some reason. Neither he's there or he tells them to go there, because that's where like the last road Poneglyph is. But that would be too linear, you know, like, oh, the last road Poneglyph is actually on the last island. I put it there.
That could make sense. I mean, hey, if Roger was the only guy who went there beforehand, like the former Pirate King, maybe the man marked by flame sees that as a requirement. Like, hey, you have to hit the Pirate King island then.
Yeah, I just don't know any other reason why you would have to go there, because it seems like Roger just already showed the reason of going there. It was like he figured out that Laugh Tale was a thing. So, I mean, unless they just go there just because they have to, like the log post forces them to go there, because, you know, the way that the Grand Line or just the New World is, like, you can't just willy-nilly go anywhere you want. You kind of have to follow where it allows you to go, essentially. So maybe that's why they have to go there to some point. We'll see. And then the other ambiguous speak that Oda has here, this is like peak Oda. Characters who had never met before will finally meet. Another pair of characters will come face to face. I've seen other translations where it says like, that man will meet that man, and this man will see. I don't even know where to begin with this stuff, because the possibilities are endless. I mean, I've seen people speculating about it, saying like, oh, this means that Luffy's going to meet Dragon, or this is going to, it's like, no way. At least not yet. So I don't really know what to make of that. Unless you have any theories, and I don't think, there's no way.
No. It's way too ambiguous. It could literally mean like the most important meetup of like Luffy and Shanks, Luffy, Dragon. But it could also just be BS where it's like, oh, actually, Gaimon met Buggy again. It's like, well, okay, cool. I mean, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, it could be anything.
I'm sure you remember, what was it, like 2018, 2019, 2020, around that time when Oda made another Jump Festa thing where he said, we will meet the lurking legend in Wano. Something like that, right?
Oh, yeah. I don't know who the hell that was.
Didn't mean anything.
Yeah, hey, we're going to meet the lurking legend. It's like, who was that guy? Like, who's the lurking legend of the One Piece world that Oda was talking about? We'll never know. That's just a mystery, I guess. And then people thought it was going to be Scopper. They're like, oh, there's a guy in Elbaf.
I was just going to say that. Maybe he had planned Scopper for Wano, then he was like, nah, I'll just save him for Elbaf.
I have no clue, man. The only Jump Festa message that, like, in my, like, recent recollection that makes sense, that guy's going to fight that guy, that guy's going to fight that guy. Because that was the year we got Law versus Blackbeard, Garp versus Kuzan and the Blackbeard Pirates. We got Shanks versus Kid. I think that one is like more like, okay, yeah, I could see where Oda's going now.
He said that coming into 2023. He was like, these guys are going to fight. And then it was like, it was the Shanks. I mean, it was like the Supernovas versus the other ones year. Okay. Yeah. And then the most important part here, the story will be moving at a breakneck speed, but since I've aged much to my chagrin, I'll be taking the liberty of maintaining my own health as we continue sailing into the next year at the fastest One Piece speed. So I don't want to worry anybody with this. In my genuine opinion, I don't think One Piece is ending anytime soon. It couldn't, even if it wanted to. And then as for Oda maintaining his health, as he should, I mean, he seemingly is a very unhealthy person, lifestyle-wise, so I hope he decides to, like, make better choices to just improve his overall health. Rather than just working less, just eat better, exercise, you know, that can happen too. But moving at a breakneck speed for One Piece can only go so far, because there can only be so many chapters in a year anyway. There's 52 weeks in a year, and he takes, you know, a break every 3 weeks, along with the mandatory breaks for holidays and just the magazine in general. You can only pump out like 30-something chapters a year, right? how much actually happens in 30 chapters. Like, a lot happens, but it's not like an arc. It's only a portion of an arc. You know, I just want to put that out there for you guys. Yes, he is talking about moving faster, but the story can only go so fast regardless of how much he wants. And I don't think Oda is just going to suddenly break his style or just betray himself as an author and just like suddenly cut corners and just, you know, we get done Elbaf in like 3 or 4 chapters. That's just not going to happen, in my opinion. I think he just kind of just says this stuff to just, I don't know, make people, maybe he feels like people are kind of annoyed or something, or he's just saying things to make people feel a certain way. But I think it's going to be business as usual. It's just going to move at the same pace that it always has. Maybe it'll move a little faster. Maybe it'll move at similar, like you were saying, to like God Valley-esque speed, but I don't think it's going to be rushed at all. And if I did feel that way, I would say it for sure. I'm not trying to, you know, make you guys feel good or try to be way too optimistic. This is genuinely how I feel. I think it's pretty much going to be the same. It's just going to move maybe a little faster. That's about it. I mean, I still do think we have like 8 years before the story ends or something like that. I mean, there's so much needs to happen. And like I said, there can only be 30 something chapters a year.
I give it like 4 or 5 years, but we'll see.
Really? 4 or 5 years?
Yeah, I think so. That feels right.
Let's say 6. Let's meet in the middle. We'll say 6.
Okay. I'm cool with 6.
I think that's a fair estimate. 6 years. So like 2032, somewhere around there. Because I'm also just putting a year out there just for the Void Century flashback. I think that will take a year in itself to complete.
There's a lot of story to tell there. I mean, I feel like the Void Century is gonna have to explain pretty much every single thing, and it'll probably also explain why islands are the way they are. Like Enies Lobby, for example. Like that's an island with like the giant hole underneath it, and it has eternal sunlight. So it's like, okay, we're gonna see something there. For example, the Florian Triangle, another great example. I bet we're gonna get like the origins of Aqua Laguna. Like we're gonna have to get the origins of so many things.
Man, I can't wait to see how he ties everything together. He will. He's not going to forget about things. He will have it all tied together because it's integral to the story. He put it there for a reason. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about this. What are your estimates for it ending? How much do you take at face value for what he said? Let me know. Check out Sai's channel. Have the link in the description. And we'll see you in the next one.